Yay, it's exam day. Whoosh, whoosh. Okay guys, so today I'll be sharing tips on how to stay confident, calm, clear-headed and ready on exam day. Okay? Stay tuned and let's dive right in. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Victory and I'm excited to have you. If you're old, thank you for sticking with me. Today we'll be talking about exam day tips, how to stay calm, confident, clear-headed, ready, basically conquering exam day. Okay, so without further ado, I will go straight into it. So actually before I go straight into it, hit that subscribe button. Hit it right now. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, okay? Thank you so much. Today's video will be in two phases: the day before exam day and exam day. So let's start with the day before exam day, the night before. So the day before exam day, start by planning your route. So plan how you're going to get to school or wherever your exam center is. If you're going to drive, if you're going to be taking the bus, if you're going to be taking the public transit, plan that. Make sure you allow for extra time, because let's be honest, things happen. Like, there have been times when students are on their way to the exam hall and their bus breakdown in the morning, so you need to plan, allow for extra time, basically contingency time, in case your bus breaks down or your car breaks down, so you still have enough time to get to the exam hall. You don't want to be prepared and then you have to move the exam date forward because of something that could have been avoided, right? So that wouldn't be very convenient. So don't forget to plan your route and allow extra time. And then pack everything you need the day before as well. Pack everything you need. I feel like I don't want to dwell so much on this, but pack everything the day before, because it will really help you avoid being all over the place the morning of the exam. So pack everything the day before, then have a good night's rest. I know that some people like to do like till daybreak, some people like to read until daybreak, some people like to study until the very minute they enter the exam hall, and this is a judgment-free zone, because I've been in that situation myself so many times in the past. But honestly, it's not very advisable, especially when you're writing very long exams like the MCAT. So exams that take like 6 to 8 hours long, it's not advisable to read till daybreak. Like, that's literally you setting yourself up that's literally you setting yourself up for failure. So please make sure you have at least 7 hours of sleep the day before your exam, okay? Very important. And then while reading for your exam the day before, focus on reviewing. So try to avoid learning new material, because one thing learning new material could do is that it would increase your confusion. So when you try to learn new material the day before your exam, you would begin to panic. You could begin to panic, especially if it's something very complex. You could begin to panic. So while reviewing the day before, try to focus on difficult parts. So areas that you know that while studying for the exam you found them very difficult, or those parts you tend to forget them more. So those are the parts that you should actually focus on instead of learning new material, because learning new material honestly could make you even more confused, and it could increase anxiety, especially when you're trying to understand it or you're trying to grasp the new material but it doesn't seem to be working. So preferably try to avoid new material, unless it's something you think it's very, very important and it's not too complex. So it's not like a formula you're trying to cram or something, because honestly trying to learn new material before the day before the exam or on the exam day could cause more confusion and make you even forget the things that you know. So I'll basically leave it at that. And then the next thing is eat a healthy breakfast. So now we've moved on to the day of the exam. So eat a healthy breakfast, guys. I know some of us don't like to eat before exam, myself included, because I'm just so anxious. So I just want to get the exam over with. But the correct thing, the right thing to do is to eat before exam, and again, especially before long exams like the MCATs, like the MCAT, the NCLEX, you know, before long exams like that, like school exams that are like 1 hour long, 1 hour 50 minutes long. I wouldn't say it's like mandatory, but it's still very important to eat, because your brain primarily works on glucose. So if you're lacking energy, if you're lacking glucose, you're stressing your brain out, my dear. You're literally stressing. So please, guys, try to get in some complex carbs like oatmeal, fruits and veggies. So try to get in things that will leave you full for a longer period of time. I think oatmeal is especially good at that. So things that will leave you feeling full for a longer period of time. And then also try to take something sweet, just because again, your brain feeds primarily on glucose. So having something sweet, something that could easily why is this accent coming from? Something that could easily release glucose, so something that you could easily break down glucose would be very beneficial. Okay guys, so the next thing would be dress comfortable, dress in layers. So I know that you might be like, why dress in layers? Well, honestly, dressing in layers keeps you safe, because dressing in layers is safer, because if you get into the exam hall and it's cold, right, you can leave your layers on, and if it's hot you can take the layers off. But it would be worse if you're dressed in something like something that doesn't cover you enough, and then you get into the exam hall and it's so cold. Oh my goodness, that would be so terrible. I can't even imagine. Like, I would literally, I tend to sleep when it's cold, so I would literally sleep off. All right. So please, guys, try to dress in layers, like have a jacket, a hoodie, something, and then also dress comfortable. Comfortable could mean different things for different people. Whatever makes you comfortable. If it's sneakers, if it's Crocs, okay, I don't know. I feel like the fashion people will come for me, but really just try to dress as comfortable as you can, okay? And then the next point is trust the work you put in and dispel fear. So fear is a very big limiter, especially in exams. Fear hinders you. Fear could literally make you forget the things that you could have answered correctly, the things that you know, the things that you studied. Fear could make you forget them. Fear could make you answer questions that you could have answered right or wrong. Fear could make you erase the right answer to write the wrong answer. So try to dispel fear before you go in for your exam. Whatever makes you feel calm, whatever makes you feel confident. If it's taking deep belly breaths, so inhale briefly and then take a long exhale, or listening to music, or praying, or speaking to a loved one, whatever makes you calm, whatever makes you calm. So try to do that before the exam. Try to make sure that you're calm. Like, exams will always come with a level of anxiety, but you need to make sure that you're putting your emotions, you're putting that fear is under control, right? Like, you don't want it to take a hold of you, and then you're just so destabilized and like, instability and confusion is the worst thing you can do to yourself on an exam day. So you want to remain clear-headed, you want to remain confident, right? Trust in the work that you've put in. You've studied, you studied for 2 months, 3 months, 1 month, 6 months, however long you studied, you've done the work. So trust that your efforts will be rewarded, okay? Trust in the work you've put in. And then the next point is then the next point is read questions thoroughly. So make sure, it literally is what I said. So try to read your questions thoroughly. It doesn't mean you should take your time like to read all the questions like word for word. Like try to read the questions word for word, but try to read them fast, right? Don't go, okay, this no, don't try to avoid that. Some examiners are gracious enough, and the things that are really important, so there are words that you can tend to skip or miss in a question. So words like and, except, or, not, so those are words that you can tend to miss out on in a question. So some examiners are gracious enough to underline or highlight those words, and some are not, right? So you want to be careful depending on the kind of exam you're writing. And then try to answer all the questions on the first attempt. I know some people may not agree with me. I know there's a popular opinion that if a question is difficult, leave it and come back to it later. But in my opinion, and from years of experience, I would say try to answer all the questions on your first attempt, because you never know what could happen at the end. What if you run out of time, right? You should be time conscious, definitely, but just attempt, do your best to answer all your questions on the first attempt. And even when you miss a difficult question, do not panic, just remain calm. Sometimes difficult questions are just things you know, but hidden under something else. So sometimes examiners try to make the questions complex, but if you look at it closely, you realize that it's actually something that you know, right? So I know there's a tendency that when you miss a difficult question, you just be like, oh my goodness, I don't know this, I never saw this in my life. I feel like it's worse when you see something you never saw something you never saw while preparing for the exam. Like, that's just so terrible. But one thing you can do in that situation is try to use what you know to answer what you do not know. So go from what you know to what you don't know, right? And then don't forget, try to remain calm. Do not panic. Like, you see, panic and anxiety are your biggest enemies. Like, I want you to keep this in mind. Panic and anxiety are your biggest enemies in any exam. So no matter what you face, no matter what happens that day, even if you forget your pen even if you forget your writing materials, like, try to remain calm, clear-headed, confident, okay? And then use logic or elimination rule when unsure. So elimination rule is basically let's say there's a question and you don't know the right answer, so try to go from what is most likely not to be the answer and then eliminate. So let's say you have a question, which of these is green, and then there is apple, orange, carrot, and which other fruits can I use now? Apple, orange, carrots, and why can't I think of any other fruits? And strawberries. Oh my goodness, and strawberries. So let's say you've never seen an apple, you don't know that an apple is green, so you know a strawberry is red, and you know that bananas, is it bananas? You know that bananas are yellow, and you know that oranges are orange or yellow, depending. So you know that those three cannot be the answers. So even if you've never seen an apple before, automatically an apple would be your best bet in that situation. So go for that answer. That's basically what the elimination rule is. So use logical elimination rule when you're unsure, okay? And then try to, like I said earlier, try to answer all the questions on the first attempt, and make sure you review your exam questions before submitting. Oh my goodness, guys, let me tell you something. Come closer. I need to tell you a secret. The first people to leave the exam hall are not the smartest people. Somebody say, repeat that again. The first people to leave the exam hall are not the smartest people. Oh my goodness, I literally fell for that trick. I used to think that those that stood up to leave first, you know, they knew what they were writing and all of that stuff. But sometimes I would go out of the exam hall and then I see those people that left earlier and they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't know what I wrote, blah blah. I'm like, you that stood up and left the exam hall first, you don't know what you wrote. So guys, the fact that people are leaving the exam hall, don't let it pressure you. In fact, you should be happy that you're staying longer in the exam hall, because it means you know what you're writing and you're taking your time to actually answer all the questions correctly. Because some people that honestly stand up to leave the exam early, they just look at the exam papers and they're like, I don't know anything that's going on here, and they just write anything and submit it, and then you're trying to compete with those people. No, now choose your battles, okay? Choose your battles. So those who leave the exam hall first are not always the smartest. Know these guys and know peace, okay? And so don't be in a hurry to leave. Make sure you review your exam, your answers at least once before submitting, guys. You'll be so surprised the number of times that I've been reviewing my answers and I see that maybe I shaded something wrong, or I answered something wrong, or sometimes it could even happen that the answer to question 12 could be in question 50. So sometimes there are questions that are similar, and by answering the question later on in the exam, you'll be able to find the answer for a question earlier in the exam. It happens a lot of times. So guys, I strongly advise, try to don't be one of those people that just write and they are done and submit. You don't know if you skip the question. That would be so terrible. Like, that should even make you scared. Imagine if you skip the question and then maybe you skip the question and then you shaded. I can't even imagine. I don't even want to imagine that. But let's say you skip the question and then you now started getting the numbers like shading wrong. So let's say you skipped question 24 and then the answer for 25 you put it in 24, and the answer for 26 in 25, the answer for 27 in don't do that. Don't, please guys, please. I could literally kneel down to beg you right now. Please make sure you review your answer. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you a loser. It doesn't make you dumb. Instead, it proves that you're very smart and you actually care about your grades, okay? So make sure you review your answers before leaving the exam hall, okay? And the last thing I would say, pray, guys. Pray. Oh my goodness, I can't even emphasize the importance of prayer when preparing for exams. And honestly, there is a place for hard work. Like, if you pray and you don't study, you will fail. Tell anybody that I said what I said. If you pray and you don't study, you will fail. But if you study and you don't pray, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, honestly. But there is definitely a place for grace and mercy, for God's grace and mercy. There were times when I couldn't prepare for an exam as much as I wanted to, or as much as I should have, either because I had multiple exams around the same time, so I couldn't prepare for that exam well enough. And you know, like, I honestly just go to God in prayer, and thank God we have a merciful God, right? God is merciful, and I honestly just go to God in prayer and I tell him that, God, I know that I haven't prepared as I should for this exam, but please just show me mercy. And guess what? God is merciful, and I'll end up doing well in that exam. So guys, there's definitely a place for the grace and mercy of God. So pray while studying. There's something I pray about all the time. I pray to the Holy Spirit to give me areas of concentration, and it would interest you to know how much this prayer works. Literally, you can try it out and let me know. So pray for areas of concentration while studying. Pray before you start your exam. Even pray after you, like, I also pray after I'm done with my exam, right? You can never get enough of prayer. And yeah, God is definitely like the biggest factor in all of this. So definitely guys, pray, okay? And we've come to the end of today's video. I had so much fun making this, even though my devices are stressing me. But I had so much fun making this. I love you guys so much, and I wish you all the best. Good luck on your exams. You will do amazing, and I look forward to hearing good news from all of you. Okay, bye guys, take care, bye. If you have an exam tomorrow, all the best. I wish you all the best. I'm praying for you. Take care.